Hello, this is Yahweasel, and this particular game of Radical Dreamers has actually been going for a while, so let us continue it. Let us go towards the terrace. Ahead of me, I hear a kid come to a sudden stop. Looks like it's about to end. What's wrong? I ask in a whisper. I look over, only to see Kid pointing down the dark hallway. Squinting my eyes, I try to look for something. After a while, I start to see some sort of white mass a ways ahead of us. What is it? I ask, readying my knife. And then, as if reacting to my voice, it starts to quickly scurry towards us, growing taller and taller as it approaches. It's not actually growing taller. That's called perspective, Serge. It's a skeleton! It's a skeleton! Quick, what do we do? Why does he have skeletons defending? Ram it! I immediately start rushing, hoping to catch it off guard. Arg! With a hollow clatter, the skeleton comes toppling down to the ground. Ribs fly everywhere as the spine breaks in two. That's pretty much what I figured would happen if you rammed a skeleton. I think you've had enough, Kid shouts, looking over the crumbled heap of bones. Suddenly, as if somehow reacting to her taunts, the skeleton's remain begin to stir once again. I back away in shock as the skeleton's torso starts to prop itself up with its left hand. Its right hand then grasps its dislodged skull and holds it up, staring straight at us. What the? Suddenly, the skeleton hurls its skull at me with blinding speed. What do? Catch it! I nimbly catch the skull in my hand. Smash it! I kneel down to the ground and raise the skull high above my head. Then with all my might, I hurl it down to the ground with blinding speed. As soon as I do this, the remains of the skeleton crumbles lifelessly to the ground. Kid runs up to the pile, scattering the bones everywhere. I think I did that about as perfectly as possible. I took no damage. Relieved, I crawl back a ways, staring at... am I on the ground? Why am I crawling? Well... that was fun. Why am I crawling? Now you've had enough, Kid says. I really think I'm starting to get to the hang of this whole fighting thing. I'm barely hurt at all. I'm not hurt at all. What's this barely on about? You got a thing or two to learn, but you're getting there, mate. Kid's mischievous eyes sparkle as I glance at her for a moment in the dim moonlight. I set off down the corridor with her, ready for what's next. Hey, what was it? Hey, hang on a second. What's that thing? I ask, pointing to a small pouch over in the corner. How convenient. I bend down and pick it up. Opening it, our eyes widen as I take out a small gem. So here's the thing about this particular game. You go over paths you've already gone over, and it's just like different every time. And so it's very difficult to sort of cover everywhere. And I mean, that's the intent. It's like the whole sort of mansion is changing on you as you go. In case it's not obvious, this is not a blind Let's Play. It's blind-ish in that it's been years since I've played this, but this is not a blind Let's Play. Oi, look at that, Kid exclaims, her eyes wide as melons. Wow, that's real wide. Good eye, Serge. Wow, Kid saying something nice about me is sure nice for a change. Seeing her smile brings twice as big of a grin to my face. After a short while, the terrace comes into view on the left. The cool evening air trickles in through the doorway, giving me a subtle reassurance. We did start from the terrace, but we could go back out there. Maybe there's something to be seen. We walk quietly out onto the terrace, instantly welcomed by a cold nighttime breeze. The dreary forest we came through lies directly ahead. A light chill is sent down my spine as I watch the treetops rustle in the howling wind. Let's talk with Kid. We gotta get that bastard. He's in here somewhere, I'm sure of it. Before long, we'll be right on top of you, Lynx. I can see the fire in her eyes from here. Man, she's cute when she's angry. Come on, what'd you drag me all the way out here for? We should head back inside. The sun will be up soon. We should head back inside. The sun will be up soon, Magil adds. Yeah, really. Come on, mate. Time to go. Okay, we'll head back in. Okay, so let's try to head back for Lynx's room. In fast motion. Zzz. Whoops, something's happening. As we continue through the... Is it? That was weird. It was stuck in fast motion. As we continue through the passageway, everything's going normal until suddenly something drops onto my hood. I run my fingers through it and manage to peel off a cold, slimy object. I look up at the ceiling. There's thousands of the disgusting little black things up there. Leeches! Ah! The slimy, blood-sucking animals continue to fall onto our bodies as we panic more and more. We desperately try to shake them off, but it's hopeless. There's too many of them. They crowd around us, homing in on our presence from every direction, from the ceiling, the wall, the floor, everywhere. That's interesting. The button blinks differently. No, it just got stuck in fast motion again. I see what's happening. Please hold! Never had this much trouble with controller setup. We've got to turn around. However, looking back the way we came, a countless number have started to crowd along the passage back behind us as well, blocking our only exit. We've got to get out of here, Kid yells. Tiptoe. I take a deep breath, reminding myself I can't lose my cool now. Kid would never respect me if I did. Yeah, that's the reason. I start to slowly walk down the corridor, carefully placing my steps between the slimy, slithering leeches. Serge, Kid whispers, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. Come on, Kid. Hop on? I'm gonna give her a piggyback ride? I say, bending over. She eagerly leaps onto my back. Ugh, she's a little heavier than I thought. I take a few steps, getting used to the weight. However, suddenly Kid starts screaming. They're all over me. Get me out of here. Kid, I'm gonna fall over if you keep squirming around like that. I can't help it. Go faster. I pick up the pace a bit. Jogging along, my arms are starting to burn. Then suddenly I start to lose my grip on Kid. Ah! Kid shrieks, falling to the leech-infested ground. Oh man, they're all over her. She's covered with thick green slime, as well as a frightening number of leeches squirming and crawling all over her body. She's barely visible underneath all the muck. Get him off of me, she yells, spitting out leeches as she scrambles back up onto me. Petrified, she clings tightly to me, strangling my neck. Can't breathe. The leeches continue to fester their way on underneath our clothes, in our hair, on our faces, until all of a sudden the leeches start to recede. They simultaneously drop out of her hair and from underneath her clothes and start to wiggle out and wiggle and crawl over to a few feet ahead of us, and there begin to accumulate into some sort of mass. Halt! Magil shouts. He points towards the mass, and suddenly a blazing stream of fire comes streaking out from his fingertips. The mass erupts into flames. However, a strange sort of low, garbled voice starts to echo out from the burning mess. Moments later, some sort of monster comes springing out of the charred pile of leeches, armed with a huge scythe! It's a friend! Fight the friend! Parry the scythe! As the demon brings its huge scythe around, I bring my knife forward, hoping to parry the blow. All right, the scythe only managed to cut through my shirt, but still, that was too close. Hey, Stubby, you call that a scythe? Kid yells. Come on, Kid, it looks disturbed enough already. Let's attack. I switch my knife around for a backhand attack as the demon grins a disgusting smile at me. The second I see it break its focus, I lash out with my weapon. However, my dead-on attack only seems to graze the demon's skin. What are you smiling at, freak? Kid yells. It gives us a twisted, fang-laden smile. I clean the sweat off my brow and try to keep focused. However, I can't help but notice the demon's eyes amidst all this. They've got such an unsettling quality to them, almost as though this thing harbors some sort of unimaginable intelligence. Why wouldn't it? It's a demon! Wait, what am I saying? I can't get lost in this thing's mind now. Everybody knows these things can trap your spirit with their eyes alone. Do we know that? All of a sudden, the demon starts to mutter something. A second later, it bursts into flames. Within a few moments, the flames die out and the demon is no more. Gone without a trace. What the? A vague uneasiness sets in as I look around. Not a single scrap of evidence remains from that entire encounter. Was any of that even real? Well, no, it's all part of a video game. I really think I'm starting to get the hang of this whole fighting thing. I'm barely hurt at all. You're dang right, I'm good at the fighting thing. Not bad, Serge, not bad at all, Kid says, catching my eye. A few moments pass, and she's still staring at me, smiling. Oh man, what do I do? Should I say something? This story definitely wasn't written by a 30-year-old who's never been on a date. I look away after a nervous moment, but full of glee. I can never handle this kind of thing. Those baby blues of hers get me every time. The passageway makes a sharp turn to the right before stretching on through this subterranean maze. Before long, we're greeted with a beautifully ornate set of doors on the right, but those aren't the doors we want. Go in. Let's say hi to Lynx. Lynx's quarters. Okay, who knows who's saying this? I sure hope that key's in here somewhere. Bet that mirror could tell us where it is, Kid says, removing the large silk cloth. We've already asked it too much. The dark mirror looms before us like a still lake on a moonless evening. Oh, maybe not. Is there something you wish to know? The Venus statue reflection asks. I could ask about Kid's measurements. I can look at her also. She's right there. If you know where the key to the treasure vault is, could you please tell us? The mirror's surface begins to ripple. The whirling smoke soon takes shape into a picture of a large room decorated with rows and rows of books. Okay, I know where that is. In a beautiful womanly voice, the mirror responds, "The key you seek, as you see before you, rests within this room, towards the rear of the great sanctuary of knowledge. Within a large purple book, you will find the item you so desire." The image slowly fades and returns to a normal reflection, and the spirit has apparently moved to another mirror. Magil says. Okay, let's head for the study. As I head for the door, I suddenly get the feeling I'm being watched. I come to a stop and look around. Then, suddenly, a faint whisper reaches my ear. Be careful. They know. Whose voice was that? It wasn't any of ours. The mirror? It wouldn't double-cross us, would it? Kid heads out the door, bolting down the corridor. I frantically chase after her, easily as eager as she is. No, I seem to just be frantic. She's eager. Okay, well, we're gonna go to the study then. Nope, not here. We can get there relatively quickly, so I don't feel the need to fast motion. It is... Yeah, oh, yep, there we go. Towards the study. Okay, time to find that key, Kid says as she steps into the center of the room, surrounded by row after row of books. Where did that crazy mirror say we would find it? Hey, Serge, pay attention when I'm talking to you. Huh? I thought you remembered which one it was. So which is it? The purple book in back. I'm pretty sure it's that purple book over there, I think. Which one? Oh, I see it. Kid pulls out the purple book towards the bottom of the shelves, so I'll bet one of the ways they make it so you can't just cheat is that the book it's in changes every time, so you need to actually remember it rather than just sort of clicking the same thing every time. Flipping through the pages, suddenly an old brass key falls out of the book, hitting the ground with a clank. All right, the key! Throwing the book aside, Kid bends down and grabs the key. Her eyes light up as she stares at it in her hands. We race out of the study, eager to see what awaits us in the vault. Magil follows behind a moment later, after returning the book to the shelf. It's good for him to do that. Good for somebody to leave this as we found it. Okay, on we go. It's this. No, it's towards the terrace, just not. Oh god! Suddenly a blood-curdling screech cuts through the darkness. Scared stiff of the deafening sound, I look up to see two... Okay, it's another... We just keep finding... How many griffins are there? Okay. I kind of did fine-ish with the griffin before. I screwed up something. No, I think it's just that you can't avoid that attack. I ducked to the ground, which was good. Hit the deck! Ramming a griffin, given that it's supposed to be gigantic, would not be a good idea. That was a close call. Yep, fine. I've got a knife. Attack. Actually go out of fast motion, please. There we go. It reels back in pain. Yep, okay, we done it. We did it. In fact, Yahweasel cast death. Is this new? I jumped out of the way. Oh, okay. This time it's taken more than one round. That's interesting. Now's the time to attack still. Why don't you just keep your knife in a backhand grip if that's the only way you ever attack? Well, that fails. Ugh. Serge, move! Magel's thundering voice booms from behind. Not knowing what to expect, I immediately hit the deck, which I had already hit. A blazing streak of red shoots through the air, straight into the heart of the griffin. Its body bursts into flames. It rises up on its hind legs, screeching in pain. Engulfed in fire, the griffin crashes onto the floor with a huge thud. We came out of that alright. It wasn't exactly perfect. Really think I'm starting to get the hang of this whole fighting thing. I'm barely hurt at all. Not bad at all, kid says, catching my eyes. She's still staring at me. Oh man, what do I do? Should I say something? It's so not okay. After continuing on through the passage for a while, the terrace comes into view on the right. I take a deep breath. Yep, nope, not the terrace. Continue through the passageway. Now, well, I guess I'm not really hurt, so we're fine. I'd say we could go in there to, try to deal with, any damage I took, because maybe the old woman would reappear, but I guess I'm fine. So, okay. There better be treasure here! Inside we go! You better open now, says Kid, putting the key we found into the lock. As the lock clicks, we're suddenly showered in all colors of light. Must have been an enchanted lock. Whatever's on the other side of this door's gotta be good. Heavy doors open slowly. Inside the room, I gasp at the awesome spectacle laid out before our eyes. I've read this book. Don't take anything. Despite this story from the 1001 Nights, despite the sparse light, a brimming mountain of silver, gold, and other precious-looking artifacts shimmer and twinkle throughout the huge treasure vault. Is that thing at the top of the screen the flame we're looking for? Kid is almost drooling at the sight. But to be fair, a sight like this would captivate most people. Enormous heaps of riches are piled before our eyes, in amounts most people would probably never see in their entire lives. It looks to be authentic. This must be Magel, yeah. Remember, our goal is the flame! Do not waste time with frivolities, says Magel flatly. Was that flatly? Was that a good voice? Geez, I told you I know. Regardless of Magel's warning, Kid can't help but be taken aback. She gawks at the room's contents in awe until... Hey, what's that in the back on the pedestal? Just like you were saying a second ago. There, a palm-sized jewel radiates a pale crimson light, resting patiently behind the other treasure. It looks as though it's a roaring flame that's somehow been frozen in time. The frozen flame. As Magel glides over towards the pedestal, I nervously call out. Be careful, we can't afford falling into a trap. Fine, Kid frustratingly says, glancing back at the door. Just remember we're short on time. After investigating the pedestal for a while... Serge was correct. Is this Magil who's saying this? Serge was correct. It does seem to be trapped. Magil steps back, mumbling something in a low voice while placing his hand near the base of the pedestal. Slowly, an inscription begins to emerge on its surface, shining brightly for a moment. It should be disarmed now, he says, before cautiously lifting the scarlet jewel from the pedestal. Serge's party got the frozen flame? What? I certainly have never gotten this far in this game. Is this... I mean, this has got to be like, and then we discovered that this was just step 1. But then again, this was a satellite game. It shouldn't be that long. Whew, we did it. With a sigh of relief, I turn towards Magil. He's looking intently at the flame. Way to go, Magil. All right, let's... Suddenly, the gem shatters into 1,000 pieces in Magil's hand. It's a fake. Indeed, that fiend Lynx would never have left the real flame in a place like this. Yep, okay, got it. Damn. Suddenly, an alarm bell rings out. This is what an alarm sounds like. It sounds like... Broo, 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 broo. The room lights up and heavy metal bars fall in front of the door. Our only exit is blocked. I look around, only to see Kid holding a fancy crown, suddenly realizing what she's done. Serge's party got the golden crown? That dim-witted dingo, I say to myself. Maybe she ate your baby. Suddenly, out of the corner of the room, 4 mechanical birds suddenly come to life. Intruder alert! Intruder alert! Their loud metallic screeching only adds to my uneasiness. It doesn't look like it'll open, says Magil, checking the iron bars in front of the door. But before Magil can even finish his sentence, we start to hear deep, snarling voices somewhere outside the room. Which way is it coming from? A heavy voice asks. Sounds like a treasure vault's alarm to me. The voices continue to get louder and louder as we stand motionless inside the room. Don't deal with the mechanical birds, though. We silently gawk at each other, hoping one of us will have some sort of plan. Kid hides herself under a mountain of gold coins. Quick, hide, mate! I frantically look around the room. There, over in the far corner, there's an empty treasure chest behind a post. I dash over towards it, climb in, and close the lid. I'm shocked that there were no options in that entire scene. Well, looks like there's no one in here, boss. That's strange. No one's ever been able to escape this old thing. Softly opening the lid of the chest, I take a peek outside through the small crack and see 5 goblins, bedecked in armor, having unlocked the iron bars and standing just a few feet from me. They look around the room restlessly, peeking into the shadows. Eventually, one of them raises his head to speak. Do none of them notice that the fake frozen flame is broken? Or gone? Or shattered? No, none? Okay, good guards. Maybe a rat set it off. The cook was complaining about rats just the other day. Rats? Are you trying to tell me a rat set off the trap? A fat goblin questions the other with a doubtful face. And with that, comes from the corner, over by where Kid's hiding. Taken aback, the goblins stop moving and look at each other. After a little while, the chief slowly strokes his chin and says, No, actually, wasn't it stray cats that the cook was complaining about? Meow! Meow! Comes the voice a second time. Again, the goblins glance at each other. That's strange. What I heard was that it was a vicious Hecarim that raided the pantry, I think. Not a peep this time. I can only picture a Kid racking her brain, trying to think of what a Hecarim sounds like. Just as I thought, a thief, says one of the guards. But just as they start to approach... Run! Oh, well, then it certainly is a Hecarim. Without a doubt, one of them says, exchanging a smile with the others. Yeah. Well, that's pretty frightening then. Come on, let's get out of here. Yeah, they believe us, sure. The pack begins to file out of the treasure vault. But then, suddenly, the goblins all spring on the pile of gold. Duh. Well, what do we have here? Hey, get your hands off me, you slimy freaks, Kid says, struggling to break free. Slimy, a thief like yourself isn't in much of a position to criticize, one of them hollers at her. Kicking herself free of their grasp, Kid inches back into the corner of the room. The goblins start to corner her off, laughing to themselves. I quietly sneak out of my hiding place and unsheath my knife. Taking on an entire troop of armed goblins is a lost cause, even for Kid. What should I do? Frankly, I'm at a quandary. Gotta try! Yeah, I can't abandon my friends, especially at a time like this. No really hammy messages about, oh, and she's so cute when she's being attacked by goblins. Gripping my knife tightly, I charge into the center of the room, shouting, that's the word, they're all looking Oh, Serge, you're an imbecile. They're all looking the other way. You could have just snuck up and killed one of them without them even noticing, but instead you just screamed like a moron. For next time. Until then, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, tell me what you like best on this or any other video on my channel to help me make compilations. Cheers from Yahweasel.